International Agency on Atomic Energy voted yesterday to end its 12-year-long probe into the possible military dimensions of Iran's nuclear activity. This move is seen as a major step towards lifting U.S., UN, and EU sanctions as per the P5+1 deal reached with Iran in July. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Jawad Zarif said that the decision shows the peaceful nature of Iran's nuclear program. Earlier this month, the IAEA issued a report that suggested Iran had a secret nuclear weapons program until 2003, but found no signs of weapons-related activities past 2009. Joining me in studio is the Director of the Arms Control and Regional Security Program at the INSS, Dr. Emily Landau. Good morning to you. It's so great to have you back. Let's take a look at the following report. Break it down.
Tehran is off the hook. The United Nations nuclear watchdog approved a resolution Tuesday to end a probe into Iran's past nuclear activities, preparing the ground for the implementation of the historic accord reached between world powers and the Islamic Republic last July.
Completion of my assessment is an important step forward, but much work remains to be done. The IAEA will continue to undertake verification work in Iran, but in future, Iran will implement the additional protocol to its safeguard agreement with the agency, and we will have powerful extra verification tools at our full disposal.
The IAEA's investigation did conclude that Tehran was engaged in nuclear-related actions up until 2003, some of those activities lasting up to 2009, but concluded that it has shelved its nuclear work ever since. Those findings, however, did not demoralize the six world powers, as only last week they called on the UN Atomic Agency to close the door on the probe, according to a document obtained by the news agency AP. But there is still some ambiguity regarding Tehran's nuclear efforts, as it has failed to offer clear answers on several investigations, and thus the final report by the IAEA recommends to keep following up on Iran's past and future nuclear activities. But even with opponents of the deal stressing there should be no moving forward without a full Iranian disclosure, the road to implementation of the nuclear deal is already paved. Tehran's envoy to the IAEA said that the Islamic Republic intends to complete the process of implementing the needed restrictions under the agreement within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Despite a long row of red flags raised on the nuclear agreement before, during, and after the negotiations, the final stages of its implementations are going full speed ahead, meaning the long isolated Iran will soon benefit from the lifting of sanctions. But one thing is for certain, the critiques of this accord will be eagerly waiting for Tehran to slip up.
Dr. Landau of the INSS, I'm sure, you know, I was about to just let you speak, but why, without asking a question, why do you think this has ended so abruptly?
That's a good question, because I think there's two schools of thought that are congealing with regard to this latest report. One is putting the onus on the IAEA and saying if they found that, that evidence, and if they didn't get good cooperation from Iran, why in the world are they closing the file? And the other school of thought is saying that this is actually a political decision of the P5+1 that we're negotiating with Iran. I'm very firmly in the second school of thought. This was directed by the P5+1. We had indications that this would be the result already at the beginning of the negotiation in January 2014, when we started to hear from the P5+1 that the investigation into the weaponization aspects would be a separate track led by the IAEA. Why in the world, if they were negotiating what they described as a comprehensive final deal on the Iranian nuclear crisis, why in the world would such a crucial issue be delegated to the IAEA as if it was separate from their negotiation? And then at the end, they actually concluded an agreement that made it clear that the IAEA had to finish its investigation in an unrealistic time frame. I mean, Iran has not been cooperating with the agency for years. Suddenly, within 5 months, they were expecting Iran to give all the necessary answers after they had been stonewalling for so long, and made it very clear to the agency that this needs to be closed by the end of December, or by December 15th. And in October.
And here it was.
Just one more sentence. In October, mid-October, adoption day of the deal, we heard an anonymous U.S. official answer a question of a journalist about this, saying that the implementation of the Iran deal will go forward regardless of the content of the IAEA report. What do we understand from that? It was a political decision, and the IAEA really had no choice in the matter.
And it's hard to argue that, but of course we don't have the, we'll never know for sure. Ali, I'm wondering with you, this fait accompli of the Iran deal, okay, I'm assuming you would probably think this was a political decision as well in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely, and we are seeing the results of this fait accompli in what is happening in Syria and what is happening in Yemen. Iran, after the deal was concluded, and after the fear that the Congress will raise some problems, exactly. They feel now more free to continue to support. They are now getting back to support even Hamas and the Islamic Jihad. They are strengthening their support to the Houthis, and we saw the situation in Yemen got complicated after the deal between Iran and the international community because of the renewal of the Iranian support to the Houthis that are facing actually the international community, and the Iranian managed to do it very well. There is the nuclear deal, and there is all other issues.
All political, but that's the chessboard that is the Middle East, apparently. Time will tell. When we get back, that was